Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Druk's Milan Unboxing. Please hit the subscribe button at the bottom of your screen. I'm of course a South African correspondent for the Ring magazine, but this is now about a fight that's happening in the world of boxing on Saturday night at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, and what a fight it's going to be. We have a rematch that we've all been waiting for. WBC heavyweight champion of the world, the bronze bomber, Deontay taking on the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, in a rematch that they had of a fight they had in 2018. And the Ring magazine heavyweight championship, that belt will also be at stake, and I think it's fitting because we can all agree Wilder and Fury are the two best heavyweights in the world. Since Anthony Joshua had that glitch against Andy Ruiz, he has since avenged it, but I think that clearly puts him behind Fury and Wilder. So this is a matchup between the best fighting the best, and that always delivers. Now, Deontay Wilder, 42-0-1, an incredible 41 knockouts. He is the hardest puncher in boxing today, in my opinion. I think we can safely say that. He's knocked out every man he has ever faced, except one man, and that is Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury, 29-0-1, also has yet to taste defeat. He is the lineal heavyweight champion, meaning he's a man who beat the man having been Vladimir Klitschko, of course. And he is, I think, quite easily the best pure boxer in heavyweight boxing. He is the best ring general in the heavyweights, I think, by a mile. So you've got the boxer versus the puncher. Now, in the first encounter, Wilder retained his belt, and Fury retained his lineal status, for that matter, on a draw. That was quite controversial in some circles. A lot of people think Fury was robbed, and others say that Fury had a long count. Wilder should have won by a last round stoppage. Now, I have Fury winning that fight, but I can live with a draw. I'll tell you why. I'm not a subscriber to the whole long count thing. Yes, if you count it down in seconds, the count was a tad long, but the referee is the final adjudicator in these things, not the timekeeper. The timekeeper is there to help the referee, and it wasn't as bad as Dempsey versus Tunney. It was more along the lines of Tyson versus Douglas. I think not even as bad as that, but Fury might have just have gotten up quicker. But here's the thing. The way Fury went down in that 12th round after Wilder nailed him with a right hand and a left hook as he was going down, he went flat on his back like a sack of wheat, with his eyes closed. If Jack Reese, to his credit, he didn't, but if Jack Reese just waved it over like that, nobody would have complained, I think, and it could have been a stoppage for Fury, and then incredibly a stoppage for Wilder, and then incredibly Fury just shook it off, opened his eyes, and got up like Lazarus from the grave, and even stunned Wilder towards the end of that round. So I'm fine with a draw in their first encounter. Now, since then, Wilder and Fury have each won 2 fights. Wilder knocked Dominic Breazeale out cold in 1 round, great knockout. But we know Wilder can punch, and and when he fought Luis Ortiz, he was being outboxed until he eventually found the perfect right hand, and that was the end for Ortiz. Now, with Wilder, he can box when he wants to. He did box very well, I think, when he won the title against Stavern, but we've never seen that version of Wilder again. He's fallen in love with his power, and you can't blame him, who wouldn't? But sometimes it's not going to bail you out, and if there's such a time, it might come against Tyson Fury. Now, Fury also won 2 fights. He stopped overmatched Tom Schwartz, and then he fought an unknown Swede who was unbeaten, Otto Wallin, and he got a very nasty cut. Wasn't a good performance, but he won. He did the job when he outpointed Wallin. But he did get a very, very bad cut in that fight, and that could be a factor in his rematch with Deontay Wilder. If Wilder manages to open that cut and it bleeds badly and it affects his sight, that's not something you can afford against Wilder. And then I think logic dictates that Wilder is going to catch him right if his sight is compromised and knock him out. I'm going to assume that the cut doesn't become a factor. If it starts bleeding badly, I think it spells trouble for Fury. But if we look at this fight now, I think Fury, he's got a lot less ring rust than he had in their first encounter, because he fought 2 just journeyman opponents. Now he fought 2 guys that weren't top class, but they were better than Sefer Seferi and Francesco Pianetta. So I think he's much more in tune. He's had those 12 rounds with Wilder. He knows what he can expect. So I expect we're going to see a very good version of Fury. He's kept his nose clean outside of a ring. None of that shenanigans and weight gain. He seems to be on the straight and narrow. Hopefully, because I'm not around the guy. I'm not in the States. You know, I'm not in the UK. I'm sitting here in South Africa, so I can go on reports. But it looks like Fury has got his you know what together. Now Wilder, the thing with him is he's got that punch. So it's really a big trepidation that you can pick against Wilder. Now, if I was Deontay Wilder, what would I do differently if I was one advising him? Now, I think he was really thrown off his game in the first fight with Tyson Fury. I don't think he must do what he did against Luis Ortiz, because Ortiz is a flat-footed guy. He is there. You're going to eventually find the spot. It's much more likely than Fury that's always giving you his different looks. He moves this way, moves that way, all these feints and herky-jerky movement. And he couldn't get his jab off against Fury. So I would say you throw the jab towards Fury's chest or to his stomach, you know, because Fury has a heightened reach advantage over him, something Wilder's not used to. So throw the jab to the chest and the stomach and come over the top of the right hand and just let his hands go a bit more. Because the more punches you throw, the better will be your chance of eventually hitting pay dirt and finding that punch. You know, can be dangerous as a guy who's a puncher, but Fury is not a puncher. I don't think Wilder needs to be too worried about Fury knocking him out. If there's one outcome that will shock me in this fight, is if Fury does what he says he's going to do. I think he's just doing it to throw Wilder off. That he comes out aggressively and knocks out Wilder, that would shock me. Just like if Wilder would outbox Fury in a technical fight, that would also shock me. I can see an outcome where Wilder knocks Fury out. I can see Fury schooling and outboxing Wilder. And I can see Wilder scoring a couple of knockdowns, perhaps one more than the last time out, and winning it on points that way. But I can't see him outboxing Fury, and I can't see Fury blasting Wilder out. So if I'm Wilder, let your hands go more. Don't concentrate too much on the head. Just jab him, hit him everywhere you can, and keep throwing that right hand and let your hands go. Fury has got to do what he did last time, minus one of those knockdowns, and then he'll win the fight. Now, if I'm Tyson Fury, I'll just do the same thing again. And but I would, you know, he was neutralizing Wilder, but he wasn't doing too much himself. I'll just throw one extra right hand, try and land one extra right hand per round, because that's what he did against Fury. But you can't stand and trade over what he did against Wilder, but you can't stand and trade against Wilder. So that's what Tyson Fury needs to do now. He, like Wilder says, I only have to be perfect for a second. The other guy's got to be perfect for 12 rounds. But I think Fury can do that at this stage. Now, so who do I pick to win this fight? It's a very, very difficult thing, because Wilder can land one shot and he can take you out. But, you know, he had a very, very hard time, even in the first knockdown in the 9th round. He sort of, as Fury was bending down, he got him at the back of the head, and then sort of with a left hook, but they weren't solidly connecting. But Fury went down for a knockdown, but this is the last one that really was with a hard knockdown. So Wilder struggles to hit Fury cleanly. Fury's got that savage to stay out of the way, and Wilder, I'm not sure if he's going to use his boxing skills and really throw more punches and try to set up more than he does. You know, I think he's going to try and do the same thing more or less. So if we go by that, and it's a big if, I won't bet a cent on this fight. Also, when Wilder hurts Fury and he goes in wild, and when he does that, that's when Fury just holds him. He can smother those follow-up attacks of Wilder. He could do it last time out. So Wilder needs to make those follow-up attacks more technical, more tight. But is he going to do that? I don't know. So it is with great trepidation that I am going for Tyson Fury to beat Deontay Wilder on points this time around. I think it's always going to be a very tension-laden fight because of the power that Wilder's got. And I think Wilder will have his moments. He might hurt Fury. I think he might knock him down. But I don't think he's going to get him out of there. And I don't think he's going to put him down twice maybe or 3 times, but he's going to need to get the decision. So I think Fury is just a little bit better prepared. If his eye holds up, that's also a big if. I think he's a better boxer, he's a better ring general, and I think he is going to befuddle Deontay Wilder again and run home with a points decision. A competitive decision with some drama perhaps, but my hunch is I'm going for the Gypsy King. I'm going for Tyson Fury to win this one on points. But as I've said, if Deontay Wilder knocks him out, it won't surprise me. But I have to make a pick, so it is Tyson Fury for me. So enjoy your fight on Saturday night. And until we see each other again, do what those fighters have to do, and that is to keep your hands up.